Does Sarah keep her baby in Outer Banks Season 5? Warning, major spoilers. Yes, Sarah keeps her baby in Outer Banks Season 5. She continues the pregnancy, survives everything the Pogues face during the final season, and eventually gives birth. Sarah and John B. then name their baby JJ, honoring their late friend JJ Maybank. So, what exactly happens to Sarah's pregnancy in the final season of Outer Banks? The answer is one of the more positive parts of the show's ending. Sarah reveals that she's pregnant at the end of Season 4, just as her life is becoming more dangerous than ever. At that point, she and John B. are already dealing with the aftermath of JJ's death, while the Pogues are preparing for another dangerous adventure. That immediately raises a major question for Season 5. Will Sarah actually keep the baby, and will she and the baby survive everything that comes next? The answer is yes. Does Sarah decide to keep the baby? Sarah ultimately chooses to continue her pregnancy. At first, the decision isn't easy. Sarah is young, and her relationship with John B. has never exactly been conventional. They don't have a stable home, they're constantly getting into dangerous situations, and their lives revolve around treasure hunts and escaping enemies. A family friend, Mrs. Campbell, even encourages Sarah to consider whether continuing the pregnancy is the right decision. But Sarah makes her choice. She wants the baby. That decision becomes an important part of her character development because Sarah starts thinking about something bigger than the next treasure or the next threat. For perhaps the first time, she's thinking seriously about the future. Does Sarah lose the baby? No. This is one of the biggest questions surrounding Sarah throughout Season 5. The writers could have used the pregnancy as another tragedy, especially considering how dangerous the season becomes. But that's not what happens. Sarah experiences several difficult moments during the pregnancy, including severe dehydration, while she and the Pogues are dealing with enemies, treasure hunts, and dangerous travel. She also has to survive the final storm and the confrontation involving Chandler Groff. Despite all of this, Sarah makes it through the pregnancy, and the finale confirms that the baby is safe. Does Sarah give birth? Yes. Sarah gives birth toward the end of Season 5, and the baby is healthy. This is a huge turning point for Sarah and John B. because their lives have finally moved beyond simply surviving. For 5 seasons, the couple has been constantly pulled into dangerous situations. Now they have something entirely different to focus on, raising their child. And the baby's name makes the moment even more emotional. What do Sarah and John B. name their baby? They name their baby JJ. The name is a tribute to their late friend JJ Maybank. JJ was killed by his biological father, Chandler Groff, at the end of Season 4. His death becomes one of the central emotional forces behind Season 5. The Pogues aren't simply searching for another treasure. They also want revenge for JJ. Kiara, especially, struggles with the loss because of her relationship with him. So, when Sarah and John B. name their child JJ, they're ensuring that their friend remains part of their lives. The baby isn't literally JJ coming back. He's a completely new person, but his name carries the memory of the friend they lost. Does the blue crown bring JJ back? No, the blue crown creates plenty of confusion because it is rumored to have the ability to bring the dead back. Kiara even uses it in an attempt to bring the original JJ back. But the crown doesn't literally resurrect him. Instead, Kiara experiences memories and a final emotional connection with JJ. This is important because the series doesn't undo JJ's death. The original JJ remains dead. Sarah and John B.'s baby simply carries his name. That allows the show to honor JJ without destroying the emotional consequences of his death. What happens to Sarah and John B.? They get the happy ending that has been building since the beginning of the series. After the Pogues finally secure the Royal Merchant Gold, they are able to rebuild their lives. Sarah and John B. rebuild their home. And then the finale jumps forward 1 year. That's when the audience sees Sarah and John B. getting married. Their child is present at the celebration. The wedding takes place at the rebuilt Chateau, surrounded by friends and family. It's a major full-circle moment. The 2 teenagers who started the series chasing treasure are now married and raising a child. What happens to Rafe? Sarah's ending also includes an emotional goodbye with her brother Rafe. Rafe has spent much of the series causing chaos in Sarah's life, but their relationship becomes more complicated by the end. After breaking Sophia out of jail, Rafe is forced to leave the Outer Banks. He says goodbye to Sarah and apologizes for everything. The goodbye is especially emotional because Rafe knows he won't be able to return home easily. That means he probably won't get to meet Sarah and John B's baby. Still, he promises to make the most of the second chance he's been given. Rafe and Sophia ultimately leave together, heading south as the Pogues help them escape. Why is Sarah's baby so important? The pregnancy represents a new future for Sarah. Think about Sarah's life when the series began. She came from a wealthy family, but her home life was deeply dysfunctional. Her relationship with her father, Ward, was complicated. Her relationship with Rafe was destructive. And even after she joined the Pogues, she was constantly caught in dangerous situations. Sarah rarely had the opportunity to simply build a normal life. Her pregnancy changes that. Suddenly, she has a reason to think about what comes next. She isn't just running from the past anymore, she's building something new. Does Sarah end up with a family? Yes, that's essentially the final chapter of her story. Sarah has John B. She has their child. She has her friends, and she has a home. Her mother also reconnects with her, giving Sarah another important piece of family closure. The final season therefore moves Sarah from being part of a dysfunctional family to creating her own family. That's one of the strongest themes in her ending. She doesn't get to choose the family she was born into, but she does get to choose the family she builds. Why name the baby JJ? The name is more than a simple tribute. JJ Maybank was the emotional heart of the original Pogue group. He was reckless and unpredictable, but he was also fiercely loyal. He repeatedly risked his life for his friends. His death therefore leaves a huge hole in the group. Naming Sarah and John B's child JJ doesn't fill that hole. Instead, it acknowledges that JJ will always be part of their history. The new baby represents the future, while his name represents the past. It's a way of connecting the two. What happens in the final scene? The final scene jumps ahead 1 year. Sarah and John B are married. Their child is with them, the Pogues are together, and everyone is finally able to celebrate rather than run. This is a major contrast with the rest of Outer Banks. The series spent years putting these characters through hurricanes, shootings, betrayals, kidnappings, treasure hunts, and near-death experiences. But the final image isn't another cliffhanger. It's a family celebration. Sarah has survived, John B has survived, their baby is safe, and they're finally able to enjoy the life they've been fighting for. Final answer. So, does Sarah keep her baby in Outer Banks Season 5? Yes. Sarah decides to continue her pregnancy despite the difficult circumstances surrounding her and John B. She survives the dangerous events of the final season, including the treasure hunt, the conflict with Groff, and the hurricane. Most importantly, she successfully gives birth. Sarah and John B then name their child JJ, in memory of JJ Maybank. That decision becomes one of the most emotional moments of the finale, because JJ's death was such a major part of Season 5. The original JJ doesn't return to life permanently. Instead, his memory lives on through the child who carries his name. After the birth, the story jumps forward 1 year. Sarah and John B are married at the rebuilt Chateau, with their child present and their friends and family gathered around them. So there is no tragic twist involving Sarah's pregnancy. She doesn't lose the baby, she doesn't give the baby away, and the baby isn't used as a supernatural replacement for JJ. Sarah becomes a mother, John B becomes a father, and they finally get the peaceful future that seemed impossible when their story began. After 5 seasons of treasure hunts, family problems, and constant danger, Sarah's ending is ultimately about building a family of her own. And by naming the child JJ, Sarah and John B make sure their lost friend will never be forgotten. Sarah keeps her baby. The baby survives. And Sarah and John B finally get their happy ending.